Smart Chiropractor Show featured guest segment. Today, we are going to highlight an interview that Jason and I had with Dr. Lisa Thomson. She is the president-elect of CalChiro, the California Chiropractic Association. She is a young leader doing fantastic work at some of the highest levels in our profession. Jason and I explored with her why getting involved matters. Without further ado, here is our interview with Dr. Lisa Thomson. Hey docs, I'm Dr. Jeff Langmaid here with my co-host, Dr. Jason Deitch. Thanks for tuning in to today's Smart Chiropractor Show, and we have a special featured guest today, a doc that I've known for a few years now, and probably is a familiar face to many people out there today, Dr. Lisa Thomson, president of the California Chiropractic Association. Lisa, thanks for coming on with us today.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to talk to you guys.
You got it. And I want to trace it back to the beginning. President of the largest association in the country, I'm going to assume, by a state perspective. How did you even get started with it? I know there's a lot of young docs out there that would like to become involved, but maybe don't even know where to start. So let's trace it back to the beginning. What made you get interested in becoming involved, and what were those first steps that led to where you are today?
Yeah, so for me, I'm not from California. I'm from upstate New York originally, went to Palmer, Florida. And I didn't want to go back up to the cold. So I packed up my car and drove out to California and decided I was going to open my own practice. And I had no idea what I was doing. I didn't know what I didn't know. So I joined the California Chiropractic Association as a way of getting information, getting resources. They had a great online area at the time where I could get, whether it was personal injury or insurance, all the stuff that we aren't taught maybe as much as we should be in school. So they had those great resources. So I used that. And then I started going to the events and started making some great contacts, and not only making friends, but having other chiropractors that could help me. And there's so many wanted to help. It wasn't just competition. It was all people wanting to help. So then I met some of the local leaders, and they were like, oh, you should come to our leadership meetings. So I did that, and things just started to snowball. I ended up going up to Sacramento for our legislative day. And that's where I really saw how important the state associations are. We're the only ones fighting for chiropractic. Nobody else is doing this for us. So I think that was kind of the big moment for me. It was already good, and it was great to be involved and great to meet new people. But once I was in Sacramento and saw the impact that we have and can have, that's when I was like, okay, I'm gonna step up as much as I can. And I just kept running for positions, and here I am.
That is awesome. I'm going to ask you two questions in one, which is, number one, what drives you to want to, give back and serve the profession to the level that you do? I know you've got a practice, you've got a family, you've got a life, you're not looking for extra things to do, I'm assuming. So number one, what drives you to really be of service at that level? And two, how important is it for you to have members that join and support? What's that ratio, and why does the practicing chiropractor, how do they benefit, or what contribution do they make when they sign up and become a member and contribute?
Yeah, so part one of that, and what drives me, is I love what I do. I love being a chiropractor. I see all day that I can help people without drugs and without surgery. And preaching to the choir on a chiropractic podcast, but we all see every day, oh, I went to my wherever, and it was just medication, and it was, they didn't help me, and I need something else. And knowing that if we have the right leadership to kind of just promote what we can really do, I think it's incredible. I think we can change the world, as crazy as that sounds. It's true. So I felt morally obligated to step up. It wasn't like, oh, I really want to take all this time away from my family and all this stuff and just do this. No, it's like, it felt like if the profession thought I was the right person for the job at this time, then I would work my butt off and do as much as I can, because I love what I do, and I think it's very important. So I also have a supportive husband and my kids, who I try, and since I do own my own business, I can kind of make that work as much as I can. And I think everybody can get involved in a different way. So saying what impact we can have, it's different for every person. For me, it's my big thing at first was sports and sports symposium. I started helping plan that. And that was great. And I'm a big nerd, so education was really important to me. Some people don't have the time to do stuff like that or don't care. We need money too. Just if you could support being a member and support financially, that helps. Some people are really good at and are passionate about insurance stuff. That's not what interests me. So everybody's different. We have our committees and task forces that help in their own ways. And if you don't have the time to do it, then just being a member helps also. There's so many different ways to give back, and it all helps. Every little thing helps.
Did you say somebody's passionate about insurance? I got to meet this. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Just kidding.
People who their insurance
out there
blows my mind because they want to make a difference. It's not like they like sitting there and dealing with Blue Cross Blue Shield all the time, but they know they can make a difference, and I love them for that.
I could not agree more. Jason asked a little bit about sort of what drove you, but I'm going to say, with all the things that you have going on, with all of the, I'm sure as we'll explore, the challenges and opportunities, being at that, at that level, on that stage. I'd love to just talk a little bit about mindset. What are maybe some, I don't know, anything from a favorite book to a mindset strategy? I feel like you have to have a pretty strong mindset. You have to have a positive mental attitude really to be able to do all the things that you do. How do you think about mindset day in and day out? How do you kind of protect yours? And what are your thoughts around that topic?
Yeah, well, one, I'll say it's not easy. So if I say my books or whatever and make it's not easy. So everybody struggles with this stuff. I think the busier I get, the more it forces me to really be aware of that and take care of myself and get organized. So for me, my big way for my mindset is I walk and listen to Audible. So I have a whole bunch of books that I like, and lately a lot of leadership books because I want to be a good leader. Atomic Habits is probably my favorite right now. I'm a big Brene Brown fan, so anything by her, but those are my favorite. So I walk. I've got a loop that I do. It's a couple miles. I'll put my headbutt or my earbuds in, and I will do my loop and I will listen to it. And I'm usually have like 2 or 3 books going at a time because every day is different. Some days I'm like, okay, I've got a lot of stress with leadership stuff. I need to do this. Other days it's okay. My kids or COVID stuff. This morning I got a call from my son's school after I dropped him off. He needed a COVID test to go back to school today, but he wasn't out of school. Somebody had COVID 5 days ago, so they're making kids test 5 days. It's like, so I might need a different book than a leadership book today. But it's all incredibly important. And just the exercise itself too. But for me, that combination is huge. Listening to a book, whatever is needed for me at that time, and then getting the movement in also is, I don't know if I go a couple days, I'm like, oh, what's wrong with me? And then I go for my walk, I'm like, oh, I just needed that.
Fresh air, sunshine, and movement is a great recipe. Lisa, help me understand. You are basically in charge of, as Jeff said, the largest, I'm assuming it's the largest state. I assume it's one of the larger associations. What can you, and most things start in California, what can you tell us about the landscape, what you're seeing, what you're hearing? We're obviously living in insane times. It's the bizarro world. From your perspective as president, looking at the landscape of the state and the nation, what are you hearing? Is there any good news? Anything we need to be concerned about? What are you seeing from your perspective?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, overall, I think things are good. California, things are pretty crazy. It's I never know what I'm going to hear the next day. I mean, like that example this morning was perfect, or it's like, they don't have to quarantine, but now they have to test. It's crazy. So, but overall, especially being president of the state association, we also have our Chiro Congress where all the presidents of all the state associations meet, and which California is not the largest. I know Michigan has more members than we do. We could really use more members. So if you're from California, give me a call if you're not a member. But I mean, overall, things are good. I mean, especially Chiro Congress is doing some awesome things. If anybody listening isn't aware of the big project there, it's not their project, but we're all involved with it. And oh my gosh, I'm going to forget what it's called right now because I wasn't planning on talking about it. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? The big project that Chiro Congress is kind of spearheading, where basically we're creating what our mission is for everybody as chiropractors, and it's everybody coming together, whether it's a straight chiropractor or evidence-based or whatever you call yourself. Everybody's getting together and trying to find. There's so much common ground. We as chiropractors tend to focus on other stuff when we have all these battles, when there's so much common ground that we have. And to be in the room with all these people who are so different, and to have everybody come together and raise money together and get excited about this together is so cool. And the amount of time and effort and thought that is going into this is fantastic. And I can't believe I couldn't think of what it's called. So apologize, Jay Greenstick's going to be so mad. But it's really cool to be in that room. There was one of our last meetings, I think like over $60,000 was raised in like 15 minutes. But that I'm very excited about because we all have so much in common.
I could not agree more. There's just it's wild to look from the outside in, and you try to take a step outside and think, take off the chiropractic hat and be like, gosh, exactly. So many chiropractors have so much in common, yet there tends to be these little divisions that end up becoming huge issues over time. And I'm certainly happy to hear that the leaders around the country are getting together, kind of breaking bread and making progress towards what can really continue to move our profession forward as a whole. I think that is so critically important. I'm going to ask you a tough question here. As you got started, what was maybe one of these unforeseen challenges as president? You came in, there's a lot of stuff going on. I'm sure that there's loose ends all over the place. What's maybe a challenge that you weren't expecting that you had to overcome, and how did you overcome it?
Yeah, so I mean, there's a new challenge every day, I think. One is my very first I got sworn in and had a first meeting, and then I had people coming up to me like, well, why did you do this? Why did you do that? And it was like, whoa, like I'm happy to talk to anybody. I have no hidden agenda. I'm transparent. I'm just trying to help the profession. So it kind of threw me off because I'm not a combative person at all. Especially our meeting was in Napa, so after some wine, people were bringing that up. And I think one of the biggest challenges is just time management for me, because I do have a busy practice and I do have a family, and I have my phone, I get text messages all day. Hey, why did this happen? What did this happen? Can you, and it's like, I don't have all the answers. I never will have all the answers. I can help guide people, but I don't have all the answers. And I think stepping into this role, a lot of people are like, oh, she must know all of these things. And I don't. I have an amazing, I wouldn't even have ran for the position as president if I didn't have an amazing team around me. I am just one person of this awesome team. Our board of directors is fantastic. Our staff is fantastic. Trigley got all of our leadership leaders are fantastic. So I don't have all the answers. And I think that's one of the big things is the constant emails and text messages and trying to figure out, okay, this is important. And then this one, like, you can get to it later, but don't stress about it, and just trying to make everybody happy when I know that's not ever going to happen. Yeah.
That is a tough one. And both of us admire you deeply for taking on the role. It's as much as people are like, I want to be president. There's a lot of thankless hours, and you'll let us know whether that becomes a net positive versus the sacrifices that you're making in the years to come. But I want to pick up on, you mentioned more members. And it's, I think one of the most frustrating things for anybody in a leadership position, I've known many of them, is what you need to do to activate practicing chiropractors to want to get involved, who oftentimes are just so focused on their immediate needs and their survival. So how do you answer the question, for the practicing chiropractor who goes, I'm barely able to make ends meet. I've got all, bills to pay, responsibilities, kids, mortgages, etc. When people ask you, well, what do I get out of, being a member of the CCA? What's the benefit to the practicing chiropractor to want to make that investment?
Yeah, absolutely. So first of all, California anyway, it's like $63 a month. So it's very affordable to be a member. And for me, because I see the big picture, I see the importance of it as we're protecting our profession. We're protecting our right to practice. And even though we don't always see the wins, sometimes the little things in the background that we prevented that you don't hear about are just as important, if not more important. When COVID hit, we were considered essential. We had some really hard conversations with some, we'll say, some political figures who may not like chiropractors that much. And these conversations went well. We were considered essential and able to stay open. Stuff like that is huge. But on top of that, we have discounts for CEs. We've got local meetings. There's so much stuff. We have a new website that has a list of stuff. I see new stuff on that all the time. There's all these discounts and benefits that we have. And the third thing that's huge is friendship and meeting with people. Like we had a meeting in La Quinta 2 weeks ago. It was awesome just to be able to see everybody again since it's been a while and have those conversations with like-minded people. And La Quinta is beautiful. There's so many beautiful places in California. We have meetings that helps, but for me, it's a no-brainer. I give extra just because I see, like I have my dues and then I'm donating to the PAC and giving my time because I love what I do. And if like my neighbors aren't going to do anything. They don't care. But I'm a chiropractor, and we're the ones who are going to move our profession forward, right? Yeah. So lots of benefits, but I'm biased.
Well, and you should be. And I think there's a couple of points that you made there that I just want to touch on. One is, for those docs that are really, ROI minded, I think you brought up a great point with the discounts. You could probably offset, the cost of membership by utilizing, the companies utilizing the discounts available to you. So whether current members are watching, make sure you're utilizing them because that's what they're there for. Or if you're a future member, be sure to check it out because a lot of times these costs can be offset by the discounts that are offered. The second portion, Lisa, that you touched on, I think is important, is so many chiropractors out there are lone wolves, right? We become sort of siloed within our practice and, it becomes, well, I don't want to get out of my practice because now, I'm trying to, do better in my, and it becomes this bizarre, circle or spiral where actually getting out, building those, bridges, talking with other docs and really extending beyond your practice is one of the things that actually can make you more successful, even if it takes you out of the practice a little bit more. And I think that those are just really key points I want docs to realize as we'd encourage, everybody that's watching and listening within California to, head over to the website. And on that note, where do docs go? Where's the easiest place for them to head over and learn more? I don't think we want to give them your phone number to text you, but where's the easiest and best place that docs can get started in the California Chiropractic Association?
Yeah, of course. So the last couple of years, we were working with I think it was a marketing team. They said there's so many CCAs out there. So we now go by Cal Chiro. And so you can look up Cal Chiro now, and that's where you'll find the California Chiropractic Association stuff instead of CCA. And I don't mind if people reach out to me, but prefer email so I can have time to think and prioritize. And my email is simple. It's DRL Thomson. There's no P in Thomson. So DRLTHOMSON@gmail.com. And I am happy to help and answer questions. I know that's busy and stuff is part of the job. I'm okay with that.
Lisa, I'll just ask as we sort of wrap up, is there, you mentioned when I asked you about, like what's in it for me, most of what I think most associations are doing are what I'll call defense, very similar to in chiropractic. Many of the best benefits are the things you never will get because you've been proactive and these things don't happen that otherwise would have happened had you not been involved. Are there any offensive initiatives or a vision of some sort that can not only help chiropractors know, okay, we're protecting our rights, we're making sure we can stay open, we're making sure we have some sort of insurance parity, et cetera. But what's the offensive vision? What's the dream? What is, if you doubled your membership, in the next 30 days, what would you do with the money? What would you do with the resources? What's the offensive vision for the association and maybe even for you?
Yeah. Well, I mean, really, we are a political organization. So that's exactly like talking about parity and all that. That's exactly what our goals are. And that's a lot of where the money goes to. I just had a PAC meeting on Monday. We were talking about, okay, we have a new PAC group and we're trying to decide what money goes where. And on top of that, what we have surveys that go out that say to our members, what's important to you? How can we help? Parity is usually number one. But things like sports physicals in California right now, so you can kind of do sports physicals, but in the wording of the CIF language, it doesn't mention chiropractors. So some schools won't accept sports physicals from a chiropractor. And that's depending on your area, it's a problem sometimes. So it's all the things, but really whatever we're going to fight for is what our members want. It's not about me. It's what I want. It's not about our board and what they want. It's what our members want. So that's it. And we would love to be more offensive. So trying to compete with the California Medical Association is very hard with all their billions and millions of dollars. And we're just this little group over here. So a lot of times the defensive side is the only thing we can do. But stronger together. So more people we have as members, the better. So whether you're in California or whatever state you're in, join. Yeah,
I think
and one person can make a difference.
that is a great take-home message, and I think you are a fantastic example of that, serving at an exceptionally high level in your community, taking care of people. I've seen you teach sports courses, and you're absolutely fantastic at that. And then stepping up to become president of the California Chiropractic Association. Lisa, I know you are super busy, and I want to say on behalf of Jason and our entire team, thank you so much for taking a few moments and coming on. Docs out there, Cal Chiro, if you are in California and not a member, head over, search Cal Chiro. Check it out, become a member, utilize the discounts, and I'll throw it out there. Meet up with Lisa at the next event, and I guarantee you'll have a good time. So, Lisa, thanks so much for coming on today.
Thank you so much.
Great interview with Lisa Thomson. Lisa, thank you for coming on. Thank you for serving in Cal Chiro. And docs, I don't think we need to beat around the bush. It has not been easy to practice in the state of California over the last few years. It has been some of the most challenging times that we've seen. So please consider getting involved at that local level, potentially getting involved on the state or the national level. Your involvement is what matters. All of us have to do our part, and we can all do that in different ways, but hopefully this was encouraging for why you should become involved at some level, in some capacity, not only for your practice, but for chiropractors around the world. Jason?
I was really, I guess, I'll say inspired by, the feedback when I asked, what's your offensive plan? Her answer to some degree was, well, it depends on our members. Our job is to serve our members. And what that says to me is we need more members who have a vision for the future. And, we're living in a time, and I guess if you want to extrapolate it out, the opposite of cancel culture is get active, engage. Be there, vote with your dollars, vote with your presence, vote with your voice. And if you're not happy with the direction of the organization, then obviously you can stay out of it and go, well, they're not doing what I want them to do. Or you can say, well, maybe I need to get involved and be part of a larger group of people that are saying, hey, we need to steer our organization, our leadership in this direction. And those are the choices. Those are the options. That's truth and consequences. So that's the truth. Those are the consequences. And, Lisa seemed to be a great example of somebody who's engaged and willing to say, I'm investing my time, my energy, my spirit, my life into trying to make a positive difference. And for that, she deserves all of our admiration and perhaps the inspiration for more of us to get involved ourselves.
Well said. Thank you, Lisa, for coming on. And docs out there listening and watching, head over to Cal Chiro and see how you can also become involved. Hey, if you like that video, be sure to subscribe to The Smart Chiropractor. We are posting videos on how you can market your chiropractic practice in a way that teach and invites consistently. We have found that is the magic formula to big time growth. So if you like this video, be sure to comment down below, smash that subscribe button, or visit us at thesmartchiropractor.com.